Hi everybody, this is Mr. RB. I'm going to show you how to draw the letter Q and make it look like it's three-dimensional using one-point perspective. To begin with, we're going to create a horizon line, and I'm placing mine high up on the page today. The horizon line will go from side to side and is horizontal. Somewhere on that line I need to put a vanishing point. And I'm going to put mine all the way to the left today. Now, I need to draw my letter Q. I'm going to start by just making basically a letter O. I circle my hand while holding my pencil. When I feel like I'm getting a good round sort of shape, I lower my pencil tip. And there we go. I need to make a smaller circle or oval inside. And of course, I'm going to be adding the, what do you call it on the Q? The tail of the Q? I don't know. Someone out there, if you know, let me know. Well, we've got a Q. Now let's make it three-dimensional. For that, I'm going to be using the vanishing point. I put my pencil on the vanishing point, my ruler, or straight edge, on the pencil, and I pivot until I touch the side of the O, or Q, my apologies. I'm going to make a line that comes down and connects up to the vanishing point. I'm going to do the same thing coming from the other side of the Q. Pencil on the vanishing point, ruler on the pencil, pivot that ruler, and when it just about touches that Q, I'm going to make a line to connect. Now, I want to get a curving line just like this one, but further back. To make sure, or to help me get that same curve, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my pencil on the vanishing point, put my ruler on the pencil, and I'm going to make my lines about a ½ inch long. So I'm just going to add about a ½ inch long line. How long the line is up to you. Just make them all about the same. I'm just making a series of little lines starting at the edge of the Q, and each one is heading back towards that vanishing point. Notice the lines, although they all head towards the vanishing point, they're not going to be parallel with each other. They're all starting at a different place. But they all seem to head back towards that vanishing point, and that's where they would vanish. You can see some of them already set up. This is going to give me a guide to help me get that curve to stay true to the original one. All right, I have all these lines that all end here, and I'm just going to curve around. I think one or two of them might be a little off, but I'll make it work. I just want to get that same kind of curve that I had on the edge of my Q. There's my Q. Here's the back edge of the Q. And I want those to match. Those original two lines, vanishing lines, that converge on the vanishing point, I don't need the rest of them. I'm going to get rid of them. There's a lot of erasing, I find, when I'm doing a perspective drawing. And I do try to draw lightly as I'm going to give myself less to clean up afterwards. If I accidentally erase something that I want to keep, like the edge along here, it's easy enough to redraw. Well, I have the outside edge of my Q. I want to add a little tone, and I'm going to think that the sun is up here in the sky. shining down from up above our horizon line. And as it comes down, it's going to hit over here and keep that pretty bright. It's going to keep that fairly bright, but as I curve around to the other side away from the sun, I'm thinking that it'll get darker and darker. I'm just adding a little tone now. I did not remove those original lines. You could first or later, but I kind of like them. Make me think of railroad track ties or cross pieces on a roller coaster. Could be pretty fun to turn my Q into a roller coaster. I guess that would be a roller coaster. Okay, bad joke. I'm making it pretty dark down here. I want to make it nice and dark, not only to add a dramatic contrast and visual interest, but it'll help make the illusion more believable. I'm going to lighten that a little back up. All right, I do have a bit more drawing to do to finish off this cue. I'm going to put my pencil back on my vanishing point, and I'm going to make, actually I'm going to make about a 1/2 inch long line coming from the corners of this little bar that goes through the cue. I only need to do the two that are closest to my vanishing point, because if I connect the ones back here, let's check them. Yep, this one would go right through the letter. What about this one? This one seems I'm not so sure. No, that one gets hidden by the letter, so I'm okay. So I'm gonna get two lines, both heading towards the vanishing point. Heading to the vanishing point. Heading to the vanishing point. And now, remember how this was a diagonal? I want the front one and the back one to match. So if the front goes at this angle, I'm going to put my ruler right on it, slide my ruler towards my vanishing point, and then connect. Now, remember what I did over up in here? I'm going to do the same thing for this edge of that curve. Let's review. I put my pencil on the vanishing point, ruler on the pencil. I'm just going to make a series of, in this case I picked about a 1/2 inch. I want to do just 1/2 inch lines, and this will provide me with some guide so I get a more similar curve. Keeps me from making the back line up out of my own head and getting something that really doesn't match. That's enough for that. You can see how those are almost like little steps leading right down to there. I'm going to work my way up the other side of that bar. See what we get there. All of these rules apply no matter how large or small you're working. If you were making a large billboard or stage set, the rules of perspective would still be the same. And they can come in very handy in things like that, because they can add extra depth to your stage sets or to your billboards, your murals. I'm going to curve from here down, and we're going to have to fix something over there in just a moment. And curve from there down. I figure that I'm not doing too badly. There's one piece that we're still missing just a little bit. There should be a line that goes from here, somewhere along here up. I need that. I should be able to see there's this that bar that goes through the Q. I should be able to see the top of it, but also a bit of that side in this case because of where I placed it. Yours may be placed a little bit differently, so you're just going to have to see that. What I need for this piece, the two of the sides go towards the vanishing point. Those two, 1 and 2. And 2 of the sides are just parallel with each other depending on what you drew. 1, and then I'm just going to slide up, and those two have to be parallel. I made this one up. This was just where I happened to draw the bar. This one was then had to be where it is because it must go towards the vanishing point. So these two lines must go towards the vanishing point. These two lines here and here, we just made those up. All right, that's my cue. And the last thing I can tell you is, again, even though we're really not thinking about, we're not covering how to use perspective to determine the direction and length of our shadows, but we're going to give just a little hint of shadow on the ground. Oops, I never gave shadow under here. Probably want some there. And if the sun's coming from here, then we're going to figure that this side of the inside of that Q-shaped tunnel will be fairly shadowy. All right, maybe a little shadow on there. I'm thinking that we're going to get a little shadow on the front. I don't really want to see the marks because they remind everybody that this is a two-dimensional drawing. So I'm going to rub those out. I'm just going to rub them with my fingertip. If you don't like getting your fingertip dirty, you can use a piece of Kleenex or a Q-tip or a piece of rolled up paper or the edge of a piece of scratch paper that you tear off. I've got my all right, let's get a little shadow under, let's get a little shadow under the Q just to make it seem a little more like it's sitting on the ground there. I'm using the side of my pencil. I like doing that because it's easier to smear it and get rid of the marks that way. So I hide the fact that this is a drawing and make it seem more like that magic window into some other reality. I'm just going to smear that a little bit with my finger around. It's also easier to erase. I find when I use the side of the pencil, the side of the tip of the pencil, rather than the point, that it's easier to pull off some of what I don't want showing. There we go. We got a little shadow, we've got a little Q, we got some space, we got some form, we got some light, we got some shadow. Not bad for a day's work. I hope you enjoy drawing your letter Q. Feel free to combine it with some of the other letters in the series. There's a whole alphabet of them. And look forward to talking to you soon. Bye, everybody.